talked earlier about trends. Years ago, and I've been around a long, long time, it was location. Everybody has location. Everybody has free land. Everybody has tax base, something like that. Then it became relationships. Now, then you evolved to incentives. From your perspective, and I've seen a lot of projects where some states, they may not have as big of an incentive package, but they still get the project because of quality of life or whatever else it may be. It's not just the number that is generated for the entire package. What are your thoughts as far as, is it still an incentive game where some people look at corporate welfare? What's the big deal with incentives anymore?
Good question. I think it's a broad range of factors that we all work for our clients and our clients internalize and think about. I think probably the biggest driver, what's been excellent for Texas and frankly for the South as compared to the North, cost of business. Your tax structure is very good. And of course, in places like California, New York, it's terrible. Just the way your wages pound for pound, if I'm going to hire a software engineer, that will be getting a very good wage in Texas, it'll be 20% less. And that's tied into the cost of living, which is very much tied into taxes, property taxes. Other issues, health, your hospital infrastructure. We look at things that are down to as granular as like obesity rates. We have a happiness index. When safety is
we are very happy.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we look, one of the things that we like to do is we like to put a number on things that people haven't put a number on. So how can you measure happiness? One of the things. That's right. Yeah, you just legalize color.
I think Brian made the point. No personal income tax makes us very happy.
That makes me happy. Yeah.
Whether or not it's not I get very unhappy.
Yeah. I just paid my too.
That's interesting what you're talking about.
But so, going into like how we do this with our software is getting to how do you measure some things that are very hard to measure. So we might take the inverse and we might look at something like the suicide rate, the divorce rate. Now that's something that you can control directly, but things that you can control. We talked about education before. Brian talked about New Jersey. Education, you see location. And I agree with what you said, Jim. You don't just want to throw buckets of money at it. It's a combination of factors. You certainly do need the incentive dollars to be competitive. But I think that education will actually outweigh a bigger incentive package. If you have, and we're becoming more and more attuned to that. Well, consultant space, the country, we're now going to be measuring state against state, and I think that's going to become very important. So I think from a corporate standpoint, they're looking at where am I going to get the best bang for my buck? So I want an educated workforce. Safety is paramount. We want very good infrastructure. So I just feel LBJ is getting there. It's almost done. It's not like the Boston Dig, at least, right? You guys are progressing. And when that's done, that's going to be phenomenal, for Dallas. So infrastructure is important. One of the things I think is often overlooked is transportation. And you guys do very well there with your airport infrastructure. As much as I think that DFW is just so big, but you have so many flights. And one of the things that put cities on the map, in my opinion, I'm a pilot, so I'm oriented that way. But if you look at Chicago, you look at Dallas, you look at Houston, you look at Atlanta, Atlanta's really exploded in the last 20 or 30 years. Look how many flights they have. Look how many international flights. I have a saying, CEOs, they don't take the bus. They're going to take an airplane. And the other thing that people often overlook is your general aviation airports. CEOs don't want to go to DFW. They want to go to Iowa. So when you get your not my backyard people say, well, that 4,000, 5,000 foot strip, what are we using that for? Let's develop that. Think about that, because are there Gulfstreams coming in there? And once that pavement's gone, it's gone. And a lot of the pavement that is there, that airport infrastructure is so important. You're not going to get a CEO to locate a major facility in a place that's very hard to get to for them. The thing that killed me is when we were going through this whole thing with the recession, and they were making the executives from Detroit, they were coming from Congress, and they had the audacity at first to fly in private jets. And then Congress, with their great hypocrisy, said, how could you do that? Now, of course, the congressmen and women are taking our taxpayer-paid Gulfstreams. But they made them drive it. And so that was so silly, to drive in from Detroit to California in front of Congress. So it's like, get them here fast so we can resolve the problem faster. But the CEOs, they're gonna want infrastructure, air infrastructure. If it's logistics, they're going to want excellent, highway infrastructure. So we look at transportation. We look at many different factors. Some that aren't that obvious. We look at the number of commercial flights. We look at the number of depends if the client. We were just working with a German company, and they wanted to know how many flights were coming out of Frankfurt. So we look at international flights. So I'm just touching on transportation. I could dig deep into that. Cost of business, though, I think is probably one of your primary things. Recruitment, we have a recruitment index, and in that you're looking at the cost of living, your property taxes again, and also what's the population pool size, and of that population, depending on the job function that we have to primarily fill. What's the per capita, if it's, I'm using software engineers, but I want to know of your colleges, how many are graduating software engineers. So if you can make those statistics easy for us to get, which is not necessarily easy to get, that's very helpful. If you can get your colleges to feed that information into one central repository, that we can say, well, if we're looking for, if I'm looking for warehouse operations, I don't want the graduate student. I want something less than a graduate. I probably don't want college. So I'm going to put them in that area. And certainly we do need to fill those roles. But if I'm doing biotech, I want to know that where's the cities that are going to have the highest PhDs per capita. So, probably when you miss the money from too much.
How many miles are you comfortable with political leadership?
Drops is what we're looking at. And we're looking at, we're very analytical. We're looking at, it's not just moments, because we're looking at time. We're really looking at how much time it will take. And what we do is when we work with a client, we get their employee locations and we map it and we juxtapose it. Our software actually does is juxtapose it against potential sites. And so we look at the number of miles, but we really focus on drive time.